to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://rbar.kylejohansson.us. That's RABR.KAILEJOHANSON.US. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. There are direct links to our Apple and Google podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social medias, answering the question of the week, or submitting feedback directly on the site. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. We're here. So today we're going to be reviewing Chapter 3, The Streets of Mos Espa of the Book of Boba Fett. First, we're going to give our quick impressions here, and then we'll... Spoiler alert. Danger. You are about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled. All right. So, what was your first impression of? I thought that it was kind of different, but it was extremely. There was a lot crammed into the episode, even though it was a short.
There's a lot, and it was not action filled. It was just stuff that should have informational set up. I think it's set up for the next few episodes.
Yeah, I think at least the last couple episodes there's supposed to be something big going on. So I think this is basically setting up for all of that. He's building himself a small little, if I'd say army, but and then he's also he's got himself a new Rancor, so he's just kind of getting himself all built up for something big at the end. That's kind of what I thought of it at first, and like you said, it was there was a lot there, but it wasn't action packed. So yeah.
No, it was watch it a couple times to pick it out. Like the first scene, brain in the jar, walking across the screen with the picture of the palace, which the palace was actually a monastery.
You've been reading up, haven't you? All right.
I can't do that. I can't do that.
No, you can. You can read up as much as you want. So let's talk about the news things I did first. Let me do the news clip real quick. It's time for the news. Here we go. So the first one is an article I found about the bacta tank that Boba Fett is using, and it kind of describes what it is and why he's using it. And
can I get one?
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? It's basically a miracle cure kind of thing. It relieves pain and heals scars and wounds and stuff like that. But apparently, he's in quite a bit of pain because every time he has some sort of fight scene or something, he has to go back to the bacta tank and get in the bacta tank. Yeah. I kind of suspected that's what it was used for, but didn't really understand it all fully until I read this article. And it's on.
It's like a all-inclusive healing thing.
Yeah, it's got some sort of gel type of solution that goes in there, and I found this on inverse.com is where I got the article from.
Cool. I need one of those, actually.
Yeah, we both need one of those, right? Especially as the older we get, the more we need it. So the second one was an article I found that's kind of a controversy that's been going on. I don't know if you've seen any of that when you've been looking on Facebook or anything like that, but there's quite a few people that were unhappy about the scooters that were in the show with that street gang. they didn't think that the scooters were Star Wars worthy or something weird like that.
They were just because they made them up to be like the European
Vespa,
or the Italian stuff.
yeah, the Vespa scooter. That's kind of
Yeah.
what it looks like. So in this article that I gave you, it says that was actually a tribute to George Lucas. One of his films that he did, there was a motorcycle gang in there with really colorful and decorative motorcycles, street bikes, and these Vespa type of looking things is a call out to that, supposedly. But
I thought it was interesting.
yeah, I didn't hate it,
I thought it showed them individuality.
Yeah.
Amongst
Well, exactly.
the
Exactly.
gang, or whatever they're calling them.
Here's a thing I read off on Twitter. Somebody commented about it. It says, "When did Boba Fett become a liberal Democrat? He's so soft. I feel like episode 3 was an episode of Sesame Street. The Vespa scooter scene was cringeworthy. At this point, Boba Fett doesn't deserve to rule. He needs to just be a good uncle to some sand people." Which I think that's a little much, but that's some of the stuff that people have been saying, and it's there's some of those people, I don't think they, have really paid attention to all of Star Wars stuff. They may be, like a casual kind of person that's just trying to get in on the new show or whatever. But the third story I put in was one I didn't send to you. It comes from InsideTheMagic.net, which reports mostly on Disney stuff, and it talks about Disney or Star Wars accidentally leaking that there's going to be a new series that they're developing that they've been trying to keep secret, and this series is basically Bo-Katan and the Rebels, the girl that painted all the time. It's supposed to be a series that's around that family. They're basically gonna introduce some more of it in another show, maybe Boba Fett, maybe something else, and then spin off around the Mandalorians. Continuous internal battle with their different factions and stuff. And this is a rumor, so it's not necessarily true, but it could be. That kind of brings us to
did you see the mechanic and the 2 pop-up droids?
Yeah, there was a little sneaky scene there where they slipped her
when
in.
he rode in with the
that Mandalorian.
When Bobo Rhett rode back where the dude's helmets were on the spikes.
Yeah.
And she was walking.
It's the same. The dudes on the spikes is the same place that our Mandalorian guy went to when he saw the spikes too. Yeah. And then of course Boba Fett was there, part of it too. Yeah. So I'm gonna play the wands thing, and then we'll go into tearing apart the whole episode. Okay.
All right.
We are proud to welcome our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina, where every first week of the month on the standard galactic calendar, we celebrate what the ancients call Cinco de Mayo. Come join us at Juan's for the food, mariachi music, and 34 flavors of margaritas. That's Juan's Cantina right next to the Hangar 94 of Mos Eisley Spaceport. On day 2 of the week is Taco Tuesday. All tacos are half a credit each, and enjoyed with our house margaritas. Juan's Cantina also serves the galactically famous Dos Camarones Azul Cerveza, imported directly from Kessel. Thank you again for our latest sponsor, Juan's Cantina. All right. Well, like I said, we don't have any feedback this week again. I encourage people to go to our website and click on the question of the week or the feedback link and submit some feedback. So let's get into this episode in detail. So the first scene was where they were in the throne room and the droid was kind of giving them a briefing of everything that happened before Boba Fett took over. He talks about how Bib Fortuna split up the city and stuff like that, and
how the town's broken down and gang wise or whatever.
Yeah, and the mayor was getting all kinds of money from Bib Fortuna and all that.
I told you he was a dark horse.
Yeah, he was, and that came through right there. And I thought it was interesting. He said that like you said, it was split into the city was split, but it was split between the Transdosians took the center, the Aqua took the workers district, and the Catatusians took the starport in the upper areas. Bib didn't have as much power, of course, because he didn't have the reputation that Jabba did. But there's that first scene, and they decide, hey, since the mayor's been behind more than they thought, they're going to go visit the mayor.
But to no avail, because the mayor's not there.
Well, that's the next scene is someone comes into the throne room area and wants to report. This guy's name is Lotho Peel. He's the watermonger. He wants to report that people don't respect Boba Fett because he's not enforcing the rules of the law and blah blah blah. And these guys are stealing water from him and so on and so on. And he kind of comes and makes it look like he's bringing this to him on his behalf so that Boba Fett can answer to the thieves and the lawlessness going on.
Did you see who the actor was that playing him?
Yeah, it's the guy who lost his stapler.
Where's my red stapler? I'm on my red stapler. You're not gonna move me one more time. Nope.
I'm in the basement now. That was funny, and he's been in other parts of Star Wars too, mostly voice acting and such as well. So he says the gang's been stealing his water inventory and so on and so forth, and he wants Fett to come out, and Fett goes out at night with his guards and everything to speak with the gang, and that brings in our next scene and everything, and he talks to them about the water, and they are complaining about the water prices being so high, which is probably true. The guy's probably overcharging, and we kind of see that.
Yeah, that's why he's called the watermonger.
Exactly. Exorbitant prices is what they said. Fett kind of scolds the one girl, which is weird. Did you notice that they were supposedly humans that had cybernetic modifications, right? But did you notice that the girl didn't have any? All the rest of them did, but she didn't have any. I didn't see any on her. Did you?
Yeah, I didn't see anything on her,
which is kind of strange. But so Fett offers the watermonger some money to pay for the water that they stole, and watermonger's not happy. So he basically tells him to take it or leave it, and lower his prices. And not long after that, he asks the gang if they why they're just hanging out and stealing water and stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we don't have jobs. We don't have any money, which is also kind of weird because, those bikes and scooters look like they were kind of expensive, and
Yeah.
all those mods and stuff. The one guy admitted it was an expensive mod, but they Fett says that he'll give them jobs if they are willing to fight and defend him. He'll
Yeah.
give them jobs to work for him, which is, I mean, he needs more people, but those guys are kind of young. I don't know about that, but
They went with him
they did. They went with him, and
after she said, "Well, do you want to work or not?"
yeah, exactly. And they go back to the palace, and Fett gets back into his bacta tank, and we also see that little scene right before where something's flying and gets swallowed by like a frog, and then something else grabs the frog and eats it. I thought that was interesting. And you mentioned about the spider at the beginning of the show crawling out. Um, like you said, those monks or whatever. One of their beliefs is that they can preserve their consciousness if they remove their brain and put it, and they can live forever basically if they put it in
Yeah.
some sort of thing like a spider like that that's holding the brain or whatever.
That was a like a robot spider or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
A droid. That's it.
So he, like I said, he goes into the bacta tank, and of course we know from now that whenever he goes in the bacta tank, we get a flashback, right?
Yeah.
So he gets a flashback back at the tribe, and he's going to ride a banta into Mos Eisley, or he's looking for the pikes.
Yeah.
Which are the ones that we found out were running the train and dealing in spice. He goes to the pike leader and tries to negotiate protection agreement, but the guy says that he's already paying protection for the biker gang that they stole the scooters from, or not the scooters, but the speeders from. And Fett says that the sea belonged to the Tuscans way before those bikers existed, and that he will take care of the bikers, and so on. And we see after that we see Fett riding back, and he gets back to.
We see smoke.
He sees smoke when he comes back to the camp. He gets off the big woolly mammoth banta thing and starts running towards it, and he sees the entire village is burnt to the ground, and everybody's dead.
Doesn't that go back to New Hope, to Luke Skywalker doing the exact same scene back to the water pumping?
Kind of, yeah. The smoke and everything and all that. That's how kind of Luke saw that. So he then grabs up all the bodies and burns them like the Tuscans did before, and throws all their gaffrey sticks and all that stuff in the fire with them, and takes care of that, and gets back on the banta again. And he is surprised back at the palace. Something opens up the bacta tank, and all the fluid spills out, and we see the Black Wookiee again.
The Black Wookiee grabs him up and throws him out.
Yeah, throws him all over the place.
Yeah.
And they start fighting, and of course you could see the Black Wookiee is much stronger and is basically throwing Boba Fett around like crazy, right? And he tries to stab him, tries to grab his gaffrey stick thing and tries to fight him, and finally
the gaffrey stick hurted
hurt him a little bit. Yeah, I mean that thing's pretty wicked with the metal and stuff that they put on it.
Yeah.
But then the kids come in and start helping.
The,
Um,
the kids and then
and then
the
the Gamorrean
guards.
guards too.
Yeah.
Yep. They all come in, and still that many people are almost not a match for the Wookiee either. The Wookiee's still winning the fight with all those people fighting him. He tackles the Gamorrean, and they fall down the stairs into the throne room.
Yeah.
And the kids are stabbing at him and pushing at him, and we see Shand appear, and she's helping, and she says, "Hey, everybody, back away!" And she activates the trap door, and he falls down in the pit with mouses. And Fett tells Shand to get the Gamorreans in the bacta tank so they can recover from some of their wounds, because they were wounded pretty good. The one looks like he was almost killed.
Yeah.
And then, not long after that, like seconds after that, the droid comes down and says, "Hey, there's a visitor here."
Yep. And it's the twins.
Actually, I'm sorry. They're eating at a big old table with all that food.
Yeah.
And then the droid comes down.
Yeah.
I don't want to skip over the food because there was a lot of food there.
Yeah.
And Shand makes comments about he should be enjoying the food, and he's not eating anything.
Yeah, that's right. She said you need to enjoy your feast.
He's worried about striking back, making his force known or whatever.
Yeah, making a point, I guess. Yeah.
Right. And they talk about the Wookiee a little bit too. Like I said, the droid comes down and lets them know that they have a visitor. And that's where they go outside, and the twins are back.
Yep.
And
I like when he takes the thing and takes the fuzzy animal out of the tank and baths himself, and he just tosses it away like a piece of trash.
Yeah, I was going to mention that too. I think it's like it's not quite a rabbit looking thing, but it's close. And
yeah,
if you've watched it in previous episodes, the thing is like scared to death. It's like screaming or whatever.
It's like, don't eat me.
And he's just patting himself with it to get the sweat off of him or whatever. I thought that was funny too. All right, the twins. They have a conversation. The twins, basically the sister, apologizes for sending the Wookiee after them, and they want to offer him a gift to make up for it. And it turns out the gift is a Rancor, a new Rancor.
A Rancor to put down in his trap door.
That's right.
That's right. Everybody needs a Rancor.
Did you happen to recognize the guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Jimmy Tutori.
Yeah, that was funny. I saw him. I was like, wait a minute, what's he doing in here?
What? Is it the Machete movie? What?
Exactly. I saw a thing on Twitter where some guy said that Machete finally made it to space. He's now in Star Wars. So then
he does voiceovers and stuff for Star Wars, I think.
Yeah, he does a lot of that too. He's been in Star Wars quite a bit too. So they want to consider. Fett tells them they want to consider a truce, and the Hutt sister agrees, but for a different reason. And we find out that reason is because someone else has laid claim to Jabba's territory.
Whatever, yeah.
And they explained that it was that the mayor is the one who allowed someone to lay claim or offered them to lay claim. And blah blah blah. They don't want any war with those people because it's not good for business. Same thing. And they're going to return to Nala Hut, which is their home planet.
Yeah.
And the Gamorreans bring out the Wookiee again, and Fett says that he would like them to take the Wookiee with him. He doesn't have a need for it, and as an offering of the peace, he wants to give the Wookiee back, and they turn him down. They don't want the Wookiee.
Yep. They tell him to sell it back to the gladiators.
Right. And since they don't want that, they're all fine, and they Fett accepts the tribute of the Rancor and lets the Wookiee go. He has the Gamorrean guards release him.
Yep.
And
he runs off. I'm out of here. I'm sure he'll be back in the picture and probably on Boba Fett's side.
I think so. Or he that particular Wookiee has a lot of background in the Star Wars Legends and other books and stuff. He teams up with Darth Vader at one point. That would be before this time, but he teams up with he's just a bounty hunter or an assassin or anything that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we'll see him more too. We may, if we don't see him more in this show, we'll see him in a different show. Maybe when the Mandalorian comes back for the new season, we might see him then or something. And the next scene is when he's being introduced to the Rancor in the pit with your favorite buddy, the Machete.
He asked why are the blinders on the Rancor?
Exactly, and apparently that's
a good explanation too.
Yeah, they bond with the first human they see. And so apparently that Rancor's been with blinders for quite a while, I guess, because he was just. I think he says something about he was just born recently, and he's been training him and such. And,
yeah,
he rescued him from the fighting pits or something like that. And apparently, and I've seen this before in the New Hope and Return of the Jedi. They talked about how the keeper of the Rancor is the keeper for life. So that the Rancor, has someone familiar with all the time.
Yeah.
So just like the rest of us, he doesn't like change. And Fett strokes the Rancor and stuff, and the keeper mentions the witches again of Darkmoor used to ride Rancors. Yeah. And we saw that a little bit in Clone Wars. I think there were scenes of that in the Clone Wars where they were riding the Rancors during battle or something. Then the droid comes down and interrupts him.
Yeah.
And says that the mayor is unavailable for the next 20 days. Tells
time to go to the mayor's office.
Yeah, he tells the Rancor keeper guy, Machete, we'll call him, to feed the Rancor a hefty meal, and he'll be back later. And next thing we see is they're off with a big posse to go see the mayor. We've got the two Gamorrean guards. We've got Fennec, and we've got the bikers all behind him. And they arrive, and Fett goes through the same rigmarole with the receptionist, and the major domo appears.
He's a dickhead.
Yeah, and you can see he's kind of panicking and kind of, I don't know, maybe sweating or whatever.
Yep.
and he finally agrees to let them see the mayor. He says, "Give me just a minute," and he goes into the mayor's throne room and locks the door.
Locks the door. Obo
Locks
said,
the
"No, we don't have that."
Yeah, Fan pops open the lock and shocks it open or something like that.
Yep.
And they look around in there and there's nobody there. So they yell out the door, "Hey, look out the side entrance! He's got to be coming out the back door."
Yep.
Uh,
And
so
the girl runs over and looks, and he whatever he is, jumped into a speeder.
Yep. And there's a big chase scene between the speeder and the
Gang.
Vespa.
Yeah.
And they crash and fight and try to outflank him, which they kind of do. And the girl goes up a set of stairs to a higher elevation and jumps down on top of him and causes him to crash into a fruit stand of some sort. And during the chase, we see him
almost run over a CP30 type droid.
Right, that protocol droid that they need.
Yeah.
And he knocks down a water tower, and there was a weird droid thing pulling a rickshaw type of thing that they almost hit. And you see all kinds of things. There's all kinds of things in there that you might miss if you don't see them, kind of thing.
Yeah, and the people in the rickshaw was like the aliens that were in a band.
Rickshaw. And they finally, since he hit the fruit stand, they finally have him cornered, and he gets out, and the major domo confirms that the Pikes are the ones that the mayor's working with, and he no longer is working as the mayor of the city. He's working directly with the Pikes.
Yep.
So they all converge back at the palace, and Fett has the biker kids out scoping and finding out what's going on, and one of them sees the Pikes starting to come off of a cargo ship that just landed. There's probably, what I saw, there was at least a dozen or two of them that came out.
They look military-ish.
Yeah, that, or I mean, the Pikes are always designed to look kind of scary in the first place, but yeah, they might have been military-ish or high-level organization kind of thing, because their plan is to take over the area so they can run more spice.
That's so Doonish.
Yeah.
And that one the domo or whatever crashed the speeder, then he tried to start it again.
He's like
yeah, remind me of the Millennium Falcon trying to jump in the light speed.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go. So they're talking to this one guy about what he saw. He goes to a little hollow messaging station and talks to Fett and Shan, and reports about the Pikes arriving, and there's a lot of them, and Fett comments kind of that there's going to be more. This is just the first wave. There's going to be a bunch more, and that they're going to war. And Finnick kind of says, that's not a good thing, and Fett says that they will be ready, and that's when we see the credits roll.
You better call up some friends.
That's right.
Better use a bunch of credits on AT&T.
Exactly. I wanted to point out.
I want the speeder.
Yeah.
That he's driving. They look kind of fancy. It almost looked like it was like a Audi or Mercedes symbol on the front of it.
Kind of. I mean, that makes sense because they're kind of trying to be high class looking and
Yeah.
hoity-toity. But yeah, it almost did. I thought that too. It had a symbol on there that looked like some fancy car maker symbol.
Might have been Cadillac. I don't know. I can't remember.
I couldn't tell what it was myself.
It looked brand new, so Pikes might have been trying to buy them off.
Yeah, well, that and because Bib Fortuna was feeding the mayor so much money, they just had all kinds of money to buy whatever they wanted too. So
yeah,
that's part of it. But I'm sure the Pikes were trying to buy him off too. I was going to point out that the news article we talked about earlier about the Vespas and everything in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That's our question of the week that I put on the website. So I basically said, do you have an opinion or like the Vespas in the Book of Boba Fett? So I just kind of encourage people to go out.
We don't get remarks from that then.
Yeah, kind of encourage people to go out and comment on that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna try to put a new question up every week on that location on our website. So let's do the we've kind of discussed the whole episode, so let's talk about what our thoughts and predictions are for the next episode. So what do you think's coming up?
Well, what's it, 7 episodes for?
Yeah, so we're getting ready for episode 4, right? Or chapter 4, right?
So
that means 4. That's 3 left, right? No, it's 4 left.
So we're going to see more building and posturing for war. Maybe a couple scuffles to test out the
at least that
and the Pikes' actual strengths and stuff like that.
I think we may see that Fett has started to build an army bigger than what he's already got, or he realizes he has to, maybe.
Yeah,
because he's got Finnick, who's a pretty good fighter. He's got the Gormorian guards, who are pretty good too. They're kind of slow. They're kind of they don't come to the scene right away.
I'm always wondering about that.
Then he's got the kids too.
They were supposed to be like at his side or something. What head's that?
That's because they're so fat. The fatter you are, the slower you go. I don't know.
That'd be like me and you trying to get there.
We're like waddling like that. Yeah.
Wait for me.
And then he's got the kids too, which they're okay, but they're not, fully trained. I would say they haven't done a lot of fighting. They may know how to fight, but they're not. They're not
they've had their scuffles.
They're not ready for battle, so he needs to find some more people. And there's all this talk out there, these rumors out there about something big that's supposed to happen at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's more shocking than the Luke Skywalker appearance on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So and I don't know what that could be because, at this time in the timeline, Darth Vader's dead. Luke Skywalker has gone off. It's like 10 years after the Return of the Jedi, 5 to 10 years. So Luke Skywalker's gone off trying to train Jedi. That's why he basically got the
and that would be the time,
Baby Yoda.
And that would be the time, wouldn't it be also the time that when Han Solo and Leia got together and when
they got to
produce Anakin?
No, not Anakin.
I mean
Ben Solo.
Yeah,
Ben Solo.
Good.
So so that's interesting too because in the books, which I haven't really read them, but I've read about them. In the books, Han Solo and Leia have 2 kids. Actually, I think it's 3, but one of them dies or something, and then They have Ben Solo, which I don't think they call him Ben in the books. And then they have a female um, daughter also.
Well,
And I forget what her name is. And I'm wondering, because that's not really in canon right now, if they're going to bring it into canon.
yeah.
That's more in the Legends stuff before Disney took over, and she could be, one with the Force, just like Ben Solo was. So she could be a Jedi too. We don't know.
So, okay, this is going to. Would they have kept their kids together? Or would they done something and Ray was his sister, Ben's sister?
No,
No.
I've heard talk about that Ray was the sister, and that's not true, because that would be kind of gross with all the romantic stuff that they were kind of showing in the Star Wars movies. The last one, they were basically kissing, and who knows what there was going on. So that would be kind of gross. So I don't think they can do that because of that. Mm-hmm. But she could be someone that's lurking back there, and we don't know, because at the end of the movies, or not the movies, the one before the last one, where Rey kills Palpatine again. Supposedly Luke Skywalker's dead. He does that little projection thing, and then it kind of wastes him, and he disappears, like Obi-Wan Kenobi did in New Hope.
Yeah.
So we assume that he's dead, which that's usually what that means. There's not much getting out of that, but
no, not when you're not when you're a hologram.
But those movies are like 5 or 6 more years after the timeline we're in right now with Boba Fett.
Okay.
So I think the first one of that triple set of movies is like 5 years, and then it's like a year or two between the next one, and then maybe 6 months between the last one, or something like that. Anyway, any other thoughts or predictions, or anything that was in the show that you want to kind of talk more about?
No, just some of the sound effects take me back, or take you back when you've heard them before, or
yeah, pew pew pew.
And that and the scene with when he comes back, when Boba Fett comes back to the camp, and he runs from the animal. Why did he run from that animal into the camp? The same way that Luke ran from the speeder.
Well, I mean, they were both in shock, I think, of what they saw. I think that's kind of what Fett was running, because he's like, oh my gosh, the whole village is gone. So he's running, and kind of.
I didn't see. They didn't show that female, the one that trained him, that was dead.
Yeah, they didn't really show us the bodies. They showed us the bodies, but they didn't show us who they were.
Yeah. They showed, and they had the ones that were hung up like crucifix.
Yep. I wanted to point out that did you notice on the tents there was that symbol that they
Tusken Raiders or whatever. Yeah.
They had a paint, somebody painted on one of those tents the same symbol that they painted on the house that they burnt down a couple episodes ago. Remember?
Yeah.
They painted on the wall. They were on the tents too.
The Raiders or whatever they called them.
Yeah. So the guys who burnt down the home or whatever were those speeder bike guys.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the same group is the one that burnt down the Tusken village, because they tagged it with the same symbol. So I think we'll see some of that too. Maybe he might go back in the back to tank, and we see him battle with those guys a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all I've got. If that's all you've got,
that's all I got.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https:// RABR.KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KaileJohansson.us. Left-hand side is a navigation menu to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. There are direct links to our Apple and Google podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social medias, answering the question of the week, or submitting feedback directly on the site. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.